Hi, I'm Missy Beach, Senior Financial Advisor here at Wiser Wealth Management. Well, we all know there's an election coming up. With an election, there are consequences, specifically tax consequences. And I know a lot of you out there are really anxious about the election's outcome and what that might mean to you specifically in terms of taxes. Well, all that is up in the air right now. All we can do is look at what's being thrown out there, and it's coming from both sides. So in this video today, let's specifically look at what Kamala Harris has thrown out there throughout the years, recent months, in terms of what her side might propose. In fact, there was a recent Financial Advisor magazine article that outlined a lot of her tax proposals over the years and recent months. So these are not things that I've cherry-picked. These are things that are out there up for grabs in hopes of what she might propose for tax proposals for America. So let's just start. These are in no order, and we'll just see how they might apply to normal Americans' lives. First of all, she's proposing a $25,000 down payment for first-time homebuyers. So I asked my 18-year-old son, I was like, how does that sound? He's like, well, it sounds like that's giving away a lot of money, Mom. And I was like, you're right, Brooks. That is giving away a lot of money. So on the surface, that sounds great. 25 grand for a new house purchase because, yeah, interest rates are up, housing prices are up, so what better way to help Americans? Well, you know what that $25,000 first-time homebuyer credit's going to do? It's really just going to increase the price of first-time homes by $25,000. So not really sure that that's a great idea, but it's out there on the table. Next up, she would like to implement a $6,000 newborn tax credit. So that would incent new parents to have additional children at the windfall of $6,000 each. So I'll leave it up to you all to decide if that's a great incentive to incent parents to have additional children. She also wants to restore the $3,600 child tax credit. Additionally, she would like to cancel medical debt for all Americans and expand government tax subsidies for the Affordable Care Act. And in order to expand these government subsidies, she would do that by implementing a 4% income-based premium on all households making above $100,000 to pay for this Medicare for all. So if you go back to the Biden-Harris stance 4 years ago where they weren't going to raise taxes for those people making less than $100,000, implementing a 4% income-based premium on all households making $100,000 or more is really counter to that statement. Let's see, what else are we going to give away? A $3,000 tax credit for singles or $6,000 for married filing jointly for all low and middle income taxpayers. I'm not sure of the specifics behind that. Here's probably the biggest and most impactful to our country. The corporate tax rate. It's been cut to 21%. Kamala, at different times, has suggested raising it to 28% or 35%. Now, you might think, I'm an individual taxpayer. Why does that matter to me? Because you're a consumer. You're a consumer of all sorts of goods and services. If the corporate tax rate is raised above 21%, you're going to be at the will of all these corporations who are going to, number one, have to raise the prices of all their goods and services. Number two, cut your wages as you, an employee of these corporations, because they're getting squeezed on the tax side. So before, they had this free cash flow to reinvest in their businesses, research, development, making things better for less, for more. And now if they're just getting eaten alive on the tax side, all that's going by the wayside. They're just paying taxes. They're not paying you more wages. They're not selling their products for less. It's just a bad, vicious cycle. So this is going to destroy investment in America and encourage foreign investment in our country. So that's probably the biggest single danger in this tax plan. Another one is doing away with the long-term capital gains rate for everybody. And this has been a great incentive to keep people investing in American corporations. So when you purchase stock in a company and go to sell it later, that's at a preferential tax rate on that appreciation. Well, Kamala wants to do away with that, and now that appreciation would be taxed at your ordinary income rate. So that's going to deter people from investing long-term in companies. Another one is increasing the estate tax rate. This myth that the rich are bad and awful, so they deserve to be taxed more. So instead of rewarding people for exerting effort, providing jobs and business and industry in our company, it's more a penalty in this version. Other things like financial transaction taxes of 0.2% on all stock trades. Other proposals with similar taxes on bond trades and derivative transactions. All these little things are going to add up for the, basic American consumer. And so when we have Biden-Harris 4 years ago talking about no new taxes on any American making less than $400,000 a year, it's very disingenuous when we go back on this laundry list and we look at all the taxes that are going to eat away at your income and my income. There's really this naive focus on tax incidence, meaning who pays the tax, over economic incidence, because that's the corporations who are ultimately feeling the burden, and that falls on the workers and ultimately the shareholders of the corporations and the consumers. So do a deep dive when you're looking in and comparing the tax proposals that are out there this election cycle, because they are really meaningful. And surface level, big, broad proposals like, oh, no tax on tips, no tax on tips, and all this, mirroring image, it's not all mirror image when it comes down to it. So really look at the nuts and bolts. Don't get overly excited, but compare to what, yes, applies to you, but then also take a step back and look at what applies to things that aren't just you on the surface level. Look at what applies to business and industry, because that all has a cascading effect on you as just an individual taxpayer. So don't panic. Elections never move a market over the long run. You'll see short-term volatility, but it's fine. Just stay the course, maintain your diversified portfolio, and you'll come out fine in the long run. So do your civic duty, go out and vote your heart, and you'll be fine. Thanks for listening. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to your advisor at Wiser Wealth Management.